Hey everyone, I'm Charting Man Dan with the Chart Guys, trader and technical analyst. In this video, we're going to check in on the broader market, and it was really just big tech holding things up. Big days for Google and Amazon and Apple, but everywhere else in the market there was a lot of weakness. The metals free fall continues. We've got a utilities free fall that's looking like a short-term climax kind of bottom is coming sooner rather than later. Let's check it out. Before we get into it, did a live stream this morning talking about longer term time frames, so check out the link in the comments of this video if you are interested in longer term perspectives. But for now, we're going to look at this week of action and what we're looking for. And essentially, we've got weakness in a lot of places today except for big tech. And so SPY is a potential daily bear flag. And essentially what we're going to get tomorrow is we're either going to see big tech keep the daily bounces going and try and lift everything else up with some potential capitulation bounces in the utilities, or we're going to see big tech set their daily lower highs and have the S&P 500 confirm the daily bear flag. Because right now we know that the daily lower highs are the most likely result of this bounce. Here's Amazon, Apple, Microsoft. They're all still just looking for daily lower highs, but you can see that they were the reason for the NASDAQ to form a daily inside bar today. So essentially SPY said, if SPY could talk, daily lower high is set, and the financial sector and IWM dropping to lower lows already. So there's tug of war going on. It's big tech pulling bullish today, and utilities, financial sector, healthcare, energy, everything was pulling bear aside from big tech. And so the question is, does our small group of bulls join the bears tomorrow, or does our large group of bears join the bulls tomorrow? And we won't know until tomorrow shapes up. We'll see what pre-market looks like, but as of right now, the hourly uptrends remain our guide on big tech, and we can say that big tech's not going to top out on this bounce as long as the hourly uptrends remain intact. So it can definitely go either way here in the short term, and we did see, the healthcare sector did see a nice bounce by the end of the day. It was all bears all day, but the second half of the day, I should say all bears all morning, second half of the day, that is a meaningful bounce. And it's the most meaningful bounce that we've seen in a couple of weeks. So can the bulls turn that into a daily bounce? And also, watching to see, again, the utility sector. Just, you go to look at the historical RSI, and you're looking back at 2008 and the dot-com bubble. And so, whatever's going on here, it's a factor of the dollar and rates, but someone's getting liquidated without a doubt. To see that kind of magnitude of a drop, to see everything, everybody rushing to the door at once for the exit. I mean, this is the kind of chart that you look at and say, something terrible happened in utilities the last 5 days. When in reality, you could say bad things have been happening with utilities while rates have been going up. But that's serious. That's not a 5-day event here. It's not like something happened 5 days ago. But again, definitely liquidation here. You look at the volume, which is hidden by the candle, but 55 million shares. And you go back and these big volume candles that are standing out are like 36 million and 30 million. So it is a massive volume day. You got to go back to the CVID days to get volume like today. So it's not the capitulation kind of volume in the sense that we have a long lower wick of bulls buying the dip, but we're watching for a capitulation bottom in utilities, and NEE is a top name that I'm watching here as well. You can see the bull volume on the bounce at the end of the day, pretty significant. Same deal, the daily volume here is just absolutely massive. It's the highest in years. And so watching for the potential that the absolutely smashed daily and weekly RSI are putting in a temporary bottom. And anybody that's on the sideline is hoping that it's somebody getting liquidated, because as soon as that liquidation stops, that's when you can get a more powerful bounce from those lows. So we'll see. Definitely watching the hourly on these names, but historical beat up for sure. Tesla bulls pleased with how today went. We had a gap down open on a bearish reaction to the delivery numbers initially, but bulls did an impressive dip buying job. I was looking for a 15-minute lower high to set on the morning, and we just kept grinding higher and higher and made a full recovery. And so now it's an hourly trend change attempt back to bulls. And today would be the day for bad news to take over, but the fact that it didn't on Tesla, we're watching for this weekly higher low still, and this makes bulls a bit more confident that it can shape up. And XPEV is the other EV name that we're watching for the tightening weekly range, which I talk about in the longer term video stream from this morning. And it had an uneventful day overall, but keep an eye on both of those tightening weekly charts, both Tesla and XPEV. NVDA, the relative strength started over a week ago. Remember, it started right here when the daily bounce started and the NASDAQ kept dropping to lower lows. And so the bulls have just been positioned really well for this bounce to follow through. Now we're zoomed out and watching to see, is this going to be a weekly head and shoulders shaping up? And that is definitely possible and on the table. And we also don't have a daily uptrend yet. This is essentially a stair-step pattern from the lows. There was one day in there where it was a 26 cents bear break. Couple bear breaks by some pennies, but overall just a bounce straight off the lows. I do not consider this a daily uptrend yet. We're approaching previous resistance zone. Essentially 460 to 466 had a bunch of tops back here. If I'm a bear, I'd love to see the price run straight up to that resistance zone. See the 4-hour RSI overbought as we get there. And we'll see. But definitely relative strength over the last few days. And we look at SMH, and it's not nearly as strong, but it is a big enough bounce to try and shape up a daily trend change. So it was the semiconductors along with the big tech names that helped hold things together today. The financial sector confirmed the daily bear flag, and the only hope here is that it's a bear flag with zero follow-through. Bulls would need to confirm an hourly uptrend tomorrow and break the high of today if we're going to call it a bear flag with no follow-through. But the bears are liking what the financial sector did today and what IWM did. We know IWM has been a lead bear for weeks at this point. Lower high off EMA 12, gap up open, marked the top, and then bears following through back to lower lows very quickly. So our new benchmark resistance level is 179.16 for full bear control. So a tale of two sides today, and definitely more individual names on, again, if you're just imagining an analogy, just imagine a tug of war, and on one side, the bear side today had way more people, but they're smaller. And the bull side today had way fewer people, but they're the biggest and strongest dudes in the town. And so that's the battle that's going on today and into tomorrow. MSOS, impressive hold yet again. Again, this range, we're just bouncing right above daily support, and we're pulling back right below short-term resistance. We've been topping out in the 830s for 4 days. Today we topped out just under it, and we bounced yet again, holding daily support. Look at the volume dropping off. That tells us that a volume spike and a break of this sideways range is coming tomorrow or Wednesday, in my opinion. High conviction that it's coming real soon, because we just keep ping-ponging back and forth in this range, and one of them is going to give, and it's going to give on increasing volume. And so we're either going to confirm the daily downtrend into further weekly consolidation, looking to the low $7 range, or we're going to break the 830s and keep the weekly bull flag alive. And so looking for a showdown potentially tomorrow, but nice defense again by both sides. Nice defense by the bears and defense by the bulls as we continue to tighten up. The dollar is still all bull. Hourly oversold, marked a daily higher low off EMA 12, and here we are at higher highs. The 10-year is hitting higher highs as well. We can't have confidence for the metals to bounce, for the utilities to bounce. Can't have confidence in the market as a whole as long as the dollar keeps heading to higher highs this easily. And we got daily EMA 12 now holding 3 distinct different times. And the bulls have full control. And with that, the metals keep free falling. Again, gold is acting as if something significantly newsworthy happened to it to drop down to historical RSI levels where, we hit the 20s a few times every year. No, one time every few years. And right now it's probably, really this is the second time in the last 5 years that the daily RSI has gotten to 20. But again, it's that dollar. We're not going to bounce until the dollar tops. All bear control today. 4-hour RSI doesn't mean a thing. Silver had wild volatility Friday, but it's all bears in the short term still. Again, it looks like someone's getting liquidated in some of these things. And oil. Looking a little toppy. Whenever you confirm a flag straight into consolidation, it's a red flag. And now we're watching a potential head and shoulders if we were to bounce from here on the daily chart. And I'm going to be watching the energy sector to try and be a weekly bear flag. No, a monthly. Let's start again. A monthly rising wedge is possible now. We have not seen 4-month consolidation in this sector. It's the only sector that's still bouncing from the CVID lows. Everything else saw 4-month consolidation. Energy did not. So this could take 3+ months to play out, but let's see if the energy sector breaks this pattern bearish into 4-month consolidation. If that were going to happen, oil would need to top out more significantly. And at this point, we're just watching for a weekly higher low in oil. Bears would need to follow through significantly to create the space to eventually confirm a weekly downtrend. But again, to confirm a weekly bull flag or a short-term bull flag straight into 3 solid red days and the most significant solid 3 red days that we've seen in months since this run started tells you things are shifting. The character of the chart is changing from what it has been over the last month. And so there is space now for a daily lower high to be the result of the next bounce. So keeping an eye out for a daily bounce play in the utilities, specifically NEE tomorrow. And watching to see, do the big tech names set daily lower highs or do they keep their hourly uptrends? Because we know things aren't going to fall apart if big tech is holding it together and continuing its bounce. Feel free to ask any questions. Hope you have a good rest of your Monday.